Am I Reister or am I wrong? Aaron Rodgers is not getting the same energy and treatment that Kyrie Irving is getting, but everybody should keep the same energy for both of these dudes. Jordan Simone, Arizona State sideline reporter, has absolutely started a firestorm. Well, actually, no, sorry. He didn't start the firestorm. ASU started the firestorm trying to put out a just a match. And Odell Beckham Jr. gets his way out of Cleveland. He's happy he got a birthday present on his birthday, and the Cleveland Browns should be sad. I'm George Reister. He's Ralph Amsden, and this is Reister or Wrong, the intersection where sports, business, society, and pop culture meet the truth. Absolute fire on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Facts only. Make sure you check your feelings at the door because no BS is allowed. We keep it 100. You guys make sure that you guys shoot us an email. I'm mad. IMMAD at unafraidshow.com or shoot us a text message 818-293-7547. So, Ralph, we'll start here. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID. He clearly lied about being vaccinated, where he goes, "Oh, I'm immunized." Come on, bro. We knew you were BSing, and now, and he goes on the Pat McAfee show today, talking about, we'll get to the Pat McAfee thing, but the question is, why aren't people giving him the same energy that they give Kyrie Irving?
It's proportional would be my guess. The NBA is, what would you say, second, third most popular sport?
Yeah.
Most popular online,
Yeah.
most popular
Yes.
like daily discussion topics and drama and stuff like that. But it's not, I mean, it's not anywhere near. It doesn't even touch the NFL. Like something
Correct.
going on the Brooklyn Nets um, would be like something going on uh, in Lubbock, Texas versus something going on in New York City as far as the Green Bay Packers in the NFL. I would say that I've seen a lot of people be very loud about this. Um, but at the same time, there's a lot more people that are probably finding some type of way to understand what Aaron Rodgers is trying to say. But I would say there's probably more angry people at Aaron Rodgers than there is at Kyrie Irving because football just matters more to people than basketball does. It just doesn't seem as unified, and I
No,
think
but
there's
they called
probably
Kyrie. I mean, even Stephen A got called out by Jay Williams. Like, you called Kyrie stupid, you called him this, you called him that. But now Aaron Rodgers, I'm a sophisticated man. I'm here, and that's not to say that he's that doing his own research and all of this stuff. Forget all of that. I'm just wondering why he's not getting the same, that people aren't coming at him with the same energy that they are Kyrie Irving. And granted, I disagree with both of them, but the energy is different.
yeah. I mean, I think it has more to do with also where you're at with these people. So let's take Saved by the Bell, right? Every single episode of Saved by the Bell, you had Zach Morris trying to get one over on Principal Belding, right?
Yep.
Like him coming up with some type of scheme that gets foiled and they all lose some or they all learn some moral lesson in the end. But like every single time Zach Morris did something like this, it was like, there's Zach again, right? But if AC Slater was at the center of whatever plot that Belding had to break up, he'd be a lot more apt to probably forgive him because he's not doing stuff like this every single day. I think that in this situation, AC Slater is Aaron Rodgers and Zach Morris is Kyrie Irving. Like we have had enough of Kyrie Irving's nonsense. Like he, for a long period of time, thought that the earth that we live on was a different shape than it was, and then told everybody else that it was their fault. For, it was like the most gaslighting thing ever. He left LeBron. Kyrie
Yeah.
Irving left LeBron
Yep.
to go to Boston and never acknowledged that he failed in his quest in Boston. Instead, burned sage, blamed the city, and all that stuff. Called people racist and whatnot. Which, you know, there might have been some roots in truth there, but I don't think he left Boston for that specific reason.
No.
Because if that was the case, there's plenty of information to let him know not to go to Boston in the first place. He has consistently done stuff that has just made him sort of alien to the basketball.
So you think that it's fatigue, right? Because your AC Slater Zach Morris thing was okay, it's reasonable, right? And I haven't fully bought into what some people are trying to turn this into, which is a race issue where they're like, no, it's because of race that Aaron Rodgers isn't receiving that same amount of energy. And I'm like, I don't think that that's it. I think that this has more to do with what you said. That Kyrie, it's one thing after another, and some of it doesn't feel logical. And I have consistently said that sometimes Kyrie Irving forgets that he's an athlete, that he's an entertainer. When you are an athlete, you are an entertainer. Your job is to entertain. This is why when he was talking about players sitting out the bubble, I was like, that doesn't help the cause, bro. You need the microphone in front of your face so you can talk about whatever issues it is that you want. And people are like, oh, so you're telling them to shut up and dribble? No, what I'm saying is dribble and you are an entertainer. The most important part of this is to dribble. Like dribble and do what else? Say whatever
you're an
else
entertainer.
you want to do.
You're an entertainer on a competition show.
Yes.
And your solution is to not compete nor entertain.
Yes. And you think that that's going to get the message across to people? We just won't entertain them. Somebody else will. Like that's not going to help it because it's out of sight, out of mind. To affect change, number one, you have to be on the inside of things, right? To affect change, but you also have to affect the money and keep just staying in people's face. Like you can't let this stuff die. And if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. But now Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show today. And he said some stuff that I was like, okay, interesting. So he said he's in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now. I was like, the crosshairs of the woke mob? No, dude. See, like people overstate this quote unquote woke mob stuff. There is that, right? But the fact is that you intentionally misled people. And there is nothing I've learned from my own life experience. If there's nothing that will make people more upset with you than them feeling like that you tried to lie to them or deceive them or make them feel like they were stupid.
There is that element of like, hey, I set the banana peel on the floor. You had every opportunity to walk around it, but you stepped on it and you fell. So you actually are the one that tripped, and I was just there.
Yep.
That's what he's saying. And it's funny because we get into the definition of like, I didn't mislead you. You got misled.
Yeah. See, here is the thing that he's not realizing. Aaron is acting like somebody is doing this to him. Do you realize, look at Lamar Jackson and look at Kirk Cousins. Both, I'm not sure if they're vaccinated now, but they've been unvaccinated, right?
Right.
But they came out and they were straight up about it. It's the bullshitting that got people upset. And Aaron doesn't understand that. If he had come out, because mind you, he's got enough cachet in this league to be like, yo, I don't want to get vaccinated. Like he said today, I'm concerned about about being sterile. I don't have kids. I'm concerned about all these other things. I know that the risks are low, but I don't want to do it for my own body, my choice. Would there have been criticism and backlash for that? Yes. But are people still talking about Kirk Cousins and Lamar Jackson today? Nope.
Not really.
This too shall pass. And he doesn't realize that he caused this himself by what he said. Not the fact that like all this other BS talking about, the left was anti-vax when it was Trump and now the right is anti-vax. Like he's like, I don't care about any of that. Bro, stop it. Like if everybody else is
anything to do
crazy,
with anybody else. You make your own decisions. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. You shouldn't be making decisions based on what other people are going to do. And the thing about Aaron Rodgers is he's right about enough. He's right about enough of what he said that he's got a foothold. And that's all he needs to hold on tight. That's it. He just needs his foothold. He doesn't need for it to make sense to everybody else. He just needs to be able to justify it to himself, which is what he did. And he articulated today. He had allergies to...
Dude, and then he compared himself when Aaron Rodgers compared himself to MLK today. What? He was like, yes, I'm going against these unjust rules. Bro, you're not MLK. These aren't even the same type of topics, bro.
Right.
These aren't even the same type of topics.
The whole thing, because my internet doesn't want me speaking truth here, so it cut me off there. But the whole thing with Aaron Rodgers is there is enough there. Him being allergic to ingredients in the two primary vaccines, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine getting temporarily halted and recalled, all things that happened. The idea that your medical decisions should be autonomous and you should put effort and research into them in consulting with medical professionals, all good, all things that are completely understandable. And if they were so understandable, then why not just be forthright with those things? And the reason that he is giving is, it's right there. It's right there for you to see. The reason that he's giving is he didn't like the way that everybody else was acting. But it's not about everybody else.
Yep.
It's about you. Just stand in your truth, live your truth, and say, like, I didn't like the way that everybody else was trying to make it their business about all these NFL players' vaccines and writing all these stories and then everybody getting outraged every time one of them said no. Like, you could just say, like, hey, I understand that this is an important topic for everybody. And it's also important for me not to mislead anyone.
Yes.
I want people to know that if this vaccine is not right for me based on being allergic to an ingredient within the mRNA vaccine, understand that it might be right for you. You need to consult with a doctor because the entire process of vaccination is going to save lives. That's why I'm looking into this.
We have been saying this on this show for months now. That yes, that is the vaccine the right choice for the majority of people? Probably, right?
Right.
The overwhelming majority. But are there people that shouldn't take it for medical reasons or all this stuff? Absolutely. I talked about how I'm not anti-vax, but I was vaccine hesitant. And so I'm not going to judge people in those situations, but you do have to understand too, just in general, like when we talked about Kyrie Irving's situation and all that, where I called Nick Rolovich selfish for quitting on his team. He asks his team to get vaccinated and then won't do it himself and then walks out the door on these kids that love, care, and respect him. When Kyrie Irving signs up to be an entertainer and then doesn't want to entertain, he gets James Harden to look bad, forcing his way out of Houston, and then gets Kevin Durant to come over with him and then won't play.
Right.
Like those are the things where I draw a line and have a problem with. It's not any of this other stuff. But Aaron
and let's be honest, he hung Cole Beasley out to dry. He really did. Because and he also, I don't know if you caught it, but he definitely took a shot at Kyrie Irving when he said he's not some type of flat earth anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
he's
very
like,
interesting.
I'm different than these people. Bro,
right. He's always different. He's always different from everybody though. He's the smartest guy in the room no matter what the room is. He always different. He's always got reasons. He was probably the kid at Cal in class who would, on one point when the professor has an entire lesson plan to get to, want to harp on that one thing just to show his knowledge. Like, and that's fine. It takes all kinds to make the world go around. There's plenty of those people. I have been that person plenty. I'm sure you have too. But at the end of the day, and I agree with Cole Beasley on the rules for vaccinated players and anti-vaccinated players being something that was lip service and not something that was actually rooted in science.
Yes, because that's common sense.
They stopped testing. They stopped testing people who were vaccinated, which meant that they were allowing for people who had breakthrough cases to spread COVID. It was nonsense. And Cole Beasley tried to articulate that, and he could have used support from the NFL MVP to say, hey, these rules, they're absolutely right. We need to make sure that everybody's getting tested. We need to make sure that we're not shaming people into getting the vaccine, but actually educating them into getting the vaccine, because for most people, it's going to be the right thing. I'm not one of them, and I'm going to subject myself to all of the NFL's rules in order to protect my team, because I definitely don't want to spread this. However, these rules don't make sense, and they could actually get more people infected with COVID if we're not careful. That's it. That's all I would have had to say. And would there have been people that got super outraged and called him a moron and all that stuff? Sure. Are they doing it right now? Yes. All of those people are still mad right now, and you look worse.
Yes, and we can say at the same time that Aaron has the choice because he has freedom in the state that he's in, but also understand at the same time the reason why people are pissed off at him is because he lied. Like, that's the reason why. I mean, bro. Now
the woke mob thing, like, I'm in the crosshairs of the woke mob, like using this language of like, look, we all have access to each other. We all have access to each other because of social media. People have the ability to voice an opinion that they didn't used to have the ability to voice, except for in the privacy of their own home. People are not more woke than they used to be. They have avenues to express themselves, and they also have avenues in which to receive information to cause them to express themselves about more things. It might feel like there's a mob mentality because everybody gets to talk at the exact same time, and everybody's going to have a lot of the same opinions. But at the end of the day, unless this country as a whole federally mandates that you have to have a vaccine to go to work, in Wisconsin, he still had a choice. He's not like Kyrie Irving. He had a choice to abide by the NFL's protocols and to outline what his views were on this, so that maybe some other people who feel like him didn't feel so alone. Yeah. And they didn't feel like they were hung out.
Or just say, I'm not talking about it. Just that too. Like, just don't lie, bro. All right. The next thing up, because this is the entire controversy show. We got 3 controversies today that we got to talk about. The second one is, this one happened at Arizona State. And this could go anywhere, not just at Arizona State. This could happen anywhere. And people have talked about, oh, this is a freedom of speech issue, all this. So Jordan Simone, former Arizona State player, he's beloved by Arizona State fans. He loves the school. He works as a sideline reporter, does interviews, all this stuff. So technically, he's a team employee. He's a school employee for part of his job. Like, that's not his only job, but that's one of his many jobs. And he got fired because he went on the Speak of the Devils podcast in Arizona
Which
State.
You've been on and I've been on.
And he went on there and basically said that Herm and the rest of the staff, that they're really good people. I like them a lot, but they are not doing a good job. And something needs to be done. The kids aren't being coached up the way that they need to be coached up, which makes sense considering that they had all these young coaches, and then they had coaches put on administrative leave that were young, probably didn't deserve those positions anyway, but that's neither here nor there. And he ends up getting fired. And then, mind you, we're talking about a good quality podcast for a university, right? I mean, sorry, about a football team. But
not a controversial podcast.
Yep.
Just informational and for the fans.
And had the university not fired him, that a couple thousand people may have known about this. But
if
now
that.
the entire country knows what this is, and now Arizona State has a firestorm on their hands, which leads to the question, Ralph, before we even get to what he said, is this a fireable offense if you work for a team and then you criticize said team?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, the school.
I had no problem. Like, no, go on.
Yeah, we're probably gonna say the same exact thing. Like, if you, uh, because technically you're not a school employee. Like these broadcast companies are like contracted out third parties that are still through the school, so you have some workaround. Because if you were like a university professor with tenure and you criticized the university president, they probably couldn't have done what just happened. But if you're
Correct.
contracted out, then that gives them the ability to say like, hey, this production crew and broadcast thing exists to enhance the image of the university. You've done the opposite. Therefore, we have to let you go. I think it's completely within their rights. And I know Jordan well. I love Jordan Simone. Love him as a person, as a player, love him. But he got super candid, not even emotional, just like politely candid about his feelings about the direction of the team, which called into question whether Herm Edwards should be the coach, which called into question whether Jaden Daniels should be the quarterback, which called into question the future of some of the assistants on the staff. And it is well within the rights of Arizona State University to sever ties with him as part of that broadcast crew. I mean, they absolutely have the right to do it.
Correct.
Should they have? That's the question.
The answer is no, they shouldn't have. They should have had a talk with him, been like, yo, bro, you cannot say this. Because it was very clear to me when I first heard it and you sent it over to me. I was like, oh, if they fire him, this is going to turn into a major deal because fans are already upset out of what they're seeing out of Arizona State. They're already upset. They're upset about the fact that they were cheating. And then there wasn't like this major uptick in recruiting. They're already upset that there's looming NCAA penalties that are going to be coming.
Can I just stop you for a second? I like that you said that like some were upset that they're cheating and some of the Pete Prisco types were mad that if they're going to cheat, it didn't work right.
Correct. Bro, if you're going to cheat, at least make it worth your while.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
That was funny.
Yeah, that's like going to go step out on your wife and you go with instead of going and your choices at that time were like J-Lo or the lady with no teeth that works at at Publix, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go with the Publix option. Then that makes it that much worse. So
you know what's really terrible, to stop this for a second. What's really terrible is, have you ever seen a woman who was cheated on use the phrase "with her"?
yes, exactly.
That shouldn't even be in your, like, you focus on him and the betrayal in your relationship, but instead you're like,
with
what does
her?
she have that I? Yeah.
Yes. And that's so Arizona State fans are already mad. They thought, like Ralph, when we did our preseason predictions, he was like Arizona State 11-1, Pac-12 championships, might have a chance to go undefeated.
Yeah.
Bro, they're sitting at 5-3 right now. And it's not a good 5-3. It's a 5-3 where everything feels like it's teetering on the edge of implosion. Like
the last 6 quarters. I mean, there are people that are saying the last 6 quarters the worst they've ever seen. I feel like they are very much embellishing, and I think it's probably more related to what the expectations for the team were. But you got like Doug Holler of The Athletic saying, "Did this team quit on Herm?" You got other people writing articles saying that this is the worst coaching job they've ever seen. There's a lot of people kind of baring their teeth, maybe smelling blood in the water, coming after this coaching staff. Which maybe might be why the university felt the need that they needed to protect these players from
how
the
is
call
that
coming from
protecting
inside
the
the house.
players? Like that's the problem is that if this was done to protect the players, which it wasn't, because he didn't really call out the players. Yeah, he said something about
Jaden
Jaden
for
Daniels,
sure.
but he knows he's not playing as well as he was. I mean,
Right, and he said it was more of like a leadership issue, more of like a be more fiery, get in people's face, like because that's the thing that people are talking about is there's a possible leadership vacuum on this team, and so you would want that role to go to the quarterback. Jaden Daniels, game-winning touchdown against Oregon, he's chill, throws an interception to stunt a comeback, he's chill. He's just kind of the same temperature all the time, which is a fantastic characteristic in life, but football fans are going to eat that up.
yeah, and it's so if you're going to fire the person for saying this, which we agreed that it was within their rights, but then there's a lot of people who are saying, but he was right. But he was right. I mean, and a lot of people justify saying things or that repercussions shouldn't happen because the person was right. And Arizona State only magnified it by firing him because there are so many people that agree with him on at least, even if they only agree with him 75%, 85, 90%. There's so many people that are in that camp that now you have upset them because now you have silenced a person who loves like they love and believes like they believe.
And they do love Jordan Simone, man. He had I think he played in a total of 20 games and had 150 solo tackles. This is a guy who was never afraid to go in and mix it up. This is a guy who had 6 concussions, blew 2 ACLs, has nerve damage in his arm, went to war with the Sun Devils, would literally bled for the Sun Devils, gave everything he had, and has chosen because he's probably a promising career ahead of him. Young, articulate, handsome, very, very engaging in the way that he talks. He's somebody who probably has a long future ahead of him, and he's chosen to stay in Arizona and be all about Arizona State Sun Devils all the time. And but within the Arizona State office, because I do want to address the fact that it's got to be hard if you're a player on the team to hear somebody who you thought was one of you, but is actually wearing multiple hats, use the avenue of the media to call out your quarterback, to call out your coaches, because the players on the team still love the coaches. Players on the team still love their quarterback. They know that they got to close ranks against all this media attention. And then when they feel like it's coming from one of their own, that could be the death blow. And so I can understand the instinct of Arizona State to want to step in there and say hey, we need to protect these guys from this. But then it opens you up to the question of why didn't you step in earlier to protect them from some of the other stuff that they're facing right now? Intense criticism about the NCAA investing. Who's stepping in to protect Herm from some of the stuff that potentially happened on his staff that put them in this situation in the first place?
Yep.
Why now? Why is this the thing?
And because they are a wounded dog right now. And they're doing what Dan Mullen is doing in Florida. It's not working for him either. Shut down all media availability. Shut down all of this stuff. We're not going to talk. We're going to bring everything inside. Well, the problem is that shutting the media out and shutting it out doesn't stop the noise. It actually only turns the volume up.
What do they have to do to pull the fans back from the brink? Because I've never in my entire life seen Arizona State fans united over anything ever the way that they're united over justice for Simone, who doesn't even want this.
They are too far down the road, bro. This is they have crossed the line of demarcation. There is no going back. There's only one answer at this point in time, and that is a fresh start. There is a gangrene going on, and mind you, I like Herm. Know some of the other people who are on that staff and have been on that staff. Doesn't mean I don't like them, but you can say at the same time I like Herm, and he screwed up by allowing this to happen on his watch, and now there's no possible way to win the fans back because now they're pinning when recruiting is the lifeblood of football, right? Now Arizona State is oh, we can't recruit because we have these NCAA violations. So now what we're going to depend on is getting our entire recruiting class out of the transfer portal. But you can't because you can only get up to 7 kids out of the transfer portal. Like so it and like in terms of 7 in addition that don't count against your 25. So I guess technically that they could get more, but what's in the transfer portal? Like, yes, some really good kids come through there sometimes, but they're immediately in and out. They already know where they're going when they get in. So, and then you think that you're not going to be able to get high school kids to sign up for it, but then you're going to be able to get other kids to sign up for it, like that are out of the transfer portal, that are really good players? No. No, 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 no. This is faulty logic.
Okay. There is still a potential, and I don't care how unlikely it is. There's still a potential for a 10-win season here.
Ralph.
Hold on, Mister. Get upset when I tell you there's no path for Oregon to the college football playoff. It exists. They'd have to win 5 in a row to do it. They've technically sold out Saturday night's game against USC. Is going to be nationally televised. I'm curious to see what those 53,000 fans do if they do show up.
Bro, this team is
left
on the brink. If a bad quarter against USC without Drake London, it's done, bro. It's done. Like the team is going to fall apart and quit. And I don't mean the players aren't going to go out and play hard. It's that it's going to change from this team here to I got to do what's best for me. If that means going to go for an interception instead of making the sure tackle or something, then that's what I got to do because I'm trying to go to the league, trying to get in the transfer portal, whatever it is that I need to do. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And I'm looking for at some point in this chain, the cycle needs to be broken. The administration probably didn't make the right decision when they let Simone go. Simone probably didn't make the right decision being as candid as he was. The fans probably didn't make the right decision leaving in the second. Like sometimes you just got to stick around and eat that L because you're all in it together. Like it feels at this point.
No, say, but for you to be all in it together, you can't turn on people who have a difference of opinion because if you're a coach, you have to be real when you're not having the type of success that is expected. I mean, Clay Helton was like, at least he understood the criticism was fair.
But that's just it. Herm Edwards said this week, he said, I played in Philadelphia. This is par for the course. But do the kids know that? Like, and the kids, college players, whatever you want to call them, they're getting, it's definitely like it's souring the entire experience. I don't know. The whole thing to me is just it's an enormous mess. I wish that I could have talked to somebody Arizona State before they made the decision to fire and not suspend, because he took the feeling, the unanimous feeling around Arizona State, he put it into words and he got punished for it. Yep. And people don't care that he probably shouldn't have done it. What they see is that the team is afraid of the truth. That's what they see. Whether or not that's true or not, but it doesn't matter. That's how people feel. So people feel like the team is too afraid to hear what the truth is. Is it true that this staff can't get it done? We don't know. Like, the season's not over. I had one dad of an Arizona State football player in my mentions yesterday was saying, like, hey, let's take a full measurement when it's all said and done. And of course, no one agrees with that perspective whatsoever. But at this point, what good is a fan base doing by completely abandoning the team?
I 100% agree with you there. All right. So we will see what comes of this weekend, because if they lose to USC, boy, oh boy, this will not.
And they got to go to the Pacific Northwest twice, and then they got to find some way to keep U of A's losing streak going.
Yeah, which actually may be over depending on what happens with Cal this week. Yeah. So here is also where we are at today. We find out that Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ, got released by the Cleveland Browns. Today is his birthday. He got a birthday present. He got what he wanted the most, which was to be free from Baker Mayfield. Super average quarterback, probably below average quarterback, and who couldn't get him the football. And now he's out, and people are like, "Oh, where's he? Where's he gonna go?" Dude, Odell Beckham Jr. He's open still all the time. He's still one of the best receivers in football. Period. Still one of the best. You put him on a good team, he's going to flourish and bloom. People are like, yeah, but this and that. I'm like, he was being professional. He showed up for work every day. If you look at the tape, he's blocking his ass off. He's running his routes hard. Like, I know people who currently play and played with him. Nobody has a bad word to say about his effort. Nobody. Or that he's a distraction. So, and then the Browns planted quotes from an anonymous player. Bro, what was the word that the anonymous player used?
That he's a malcontent.
A malcontent, bro.
Somebody supposedly told Mike Garofalo that OBJ keeps to himself and he's a malcontent.
Bro, there is not bro, I do not know. I know some book smart NFL players. I use some big words sometimes. Nobody describes somebody as a malcontent. Like only people 50 years and older describe somebody as a malcontent.
It is very much a CEO language.
Yes, CEO, public relations language, like somebody who's been around the block. So now that you have OBJ out of there, I have it on good authority. OBJ wants to go somewhere warm. He does not want to be in cold weather anymore. But even more than that, he wants a good quarterback. He's been down this block too many times. He thinks he's potentially one of the all-time greats. I agree with him. And now he's going to get an opportunity to choose where he goes.
He thinks he's one of the all-time greats, but he hasn't been to a Pro Bowl since Obama was president.
He got hurt, and then he went to Cleveland, bro.
Been 5 seasons. He's had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons. Cleveland won 11 games last year.
That doesn't mean that they were good, that Baker Mayfield was good. And he was out last year. So Odell hasn't been to a Pro Bowl since 2016. He was hurt in 2017. 2018, he only played 12 games because he was coming back off an ACL. And in those 12 games, 77 catches, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. And that was in New York in 12 games. He gets traded to Cleveland. And then Baker's...
Why did he get traded? Why did he get traded? If
what do you
he's
mean,
so
why?
good. Yeah, like he's so good. Why would they give up on him?
They gave him a new contract, and they knew that they were trying to rebuild. They were trying to rebuild.
They did doing him a favor because they liked him so much. Had nothing to do with the fact that he'd been fined on the field 3 times and disciplined by the team once.
Yes, he had been fined on the field, but listen, dude, he was young. You see the maturity that he displays on the field right now. Like, dude, there's nothing bad to say about this dude. He doesn't get in trouble, comes out, plays hard, works hard. All he wants to do is get the football and play and win. That's all he wants at this point. Like, yes, he was probably immature at 22, 23, 24 years old. But now he's like, bro, I got my money. Yes, I want more of it. But at the same time, like, me showing that I'm still a guy, because he only played 7 games last season and had 23 catches for 300 yards. This year, he's only got 17 catches for 212 yards in 6 games and no touchdowns, bro. He's tired of this, and I don't blame him.
It is not a moral issue nor a character issue to want to be successful.
Correct.
When you are a wide receiver, you are a dependent. You will never not be a dependent. And so you have to find a way to wrap your head around the fact that you might be the best football player on earth, but it doesn't matter unless somebody can get you the ball. The people who have not been able to wrap their head around that, and there have been so many, from Keyshawn to Randy Moss to Terrell Owens, like there have been a lot of quarterback or wide receivers over time that have had a hard enough time wrapping their head around that to where they've had to bounce from organization to organization to organization until either their career is over or until they buy into a system, humble themselves, and find success. Randy Moss almost did that in New England. There have been plenty of receivers also who have put their head down, dealt with terrible quarterbacks, even with their family, the way that Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad weighed in on this, dealt with their family members blasting the team. I'm talking about you, Marcus Fitzgerald, brother of Larry Fitzgerald. Well, he had like 9 worst quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL and still stuck with one team through his whole career. There's a lot of different ways to go about this. I wish Odell Beckham Jr. had nothing but success. What I worry about is that he has so many people gassing him up right now that if he doesn't perform, what's going to happen? This is the 12th overall pick when he came out. He is starting to remind me of another 12th overall pick in a different sport.
Who is that?
Remember Baby Jordan?
From a USC.
Harold
Harold
Miner.
Miner.
Do you think do you think the Baby Jordan hurt him? That nickname?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I think that nickname was a death blow to him. I think there's people who saw the catch. I saw the catch live. It was one of the best moments in the history of watching football on television. And if you were there, I would like your autograph. Like that, you saw one of the coolest things to ever happen in all of football. He has had 5 1,000-yard seasons. He's been to 3 Pro Bowls. He is a fantastic football player, but he hasn't been dominant in a while. And so the quickest thing to do would be to turn around and blame it on Baker Mayfield and his circumstances. And now we're going to find the truth out. Maybe not this year, but definitely next year when he has his choice of where he wants to go play football. And he's probably going to have to learn that same lesson. Maybe that quarterback there gets hurt. What's he going to do? He's going to fight another kicking net? Is he gonna
No,
win?
man.
Is he gonna win the fight this time? Because he lost the last time he tried to fist fight a kicking net.
This is why he knows that he needs to be with a competent quarterback. He needs to. And I know that you had something to say about what his dad did. His dad posting on Instagram a video of a YouTube video of all the times that Odell was open and Baker Mayfield either didn't get him the ball or threw him a ratchet ball.
I thought it was corny. I mean, I did think that his dad made the video, and you had to correct me on that. So I'm coming down off of thinking it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard to just thinking that it's kind of corny. And it wasn't just his dad, though. Like LeBron got involved. Like a bunch of people were calling for Odell Beckham Jr. to get what he wanted or get more targets.
Well, if you're not going to use him, then let him go.
But why? Like, why is everybody gassing him up to make him seem like he's the greatest receiver of all time? There's a lot of really good receivers in the NFL, and the recipe for success seems to be buying into your situation, buckling down and getting past it.
If you have a good quarterback, Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback. He's below average.
By what metric?
By every metric, bro. The Baker Mayfield was terrible until Kevin Stefanski got there, and then they were like, our rule for him being successful is stop him from throwing the ball so many times. Let's try to keep it under 30 times a game. Yes, he's had a couple where he went over and the numbers were okay, but overall, from people that I've talked to in the league, the dude is below average. You cannot depend on Baker Mayfield to win you football games. You cannot depend on him to be accurate, to make good decisions. This is exactly the reason why the Cleveland Browns have not offered him a long-term extension. This is why, because they're like, we don't believe in him. They are in the same situation that Kirk Cousins, that the Chicago Bears were in with Jay Cutler when they were like, we don't love him, but we don't have anybody else. And then they paid him. And that ended up being a horrible decision for them. And now we will see what the Browns do, because the Browns are going to look for any other option but him, unless he's willing to take a Teddy Bridgewater financial deal, like a 2-year, $40 million.
Okay, so I understand what people are saying, but he started 52 games. We should actually have a pretty good idea of who he is as a quarterback.
Yeah.
In just those 52 games, his career quarterback rating would put him at 13th time. Ever. And if you remove the one bad when he had 22 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, he'd be 7th all time in the history of the NFL.
Bro.
We're talking about him being a below average quarterback.
Bro, we're talking
good, and he's in Cleveland. Who is better than him?
Bro.
Who is like legitimately who is better? Like what's the line? Because when we say average, it assumes an average.
Bro.
It assumes an average. Who is the 16th best quarterback in the NFL?
Probably like Kirk Cousins.
So you're saying that he's worse than Kirk Cousins?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, and statistics consistently show Kirk Cousins to be like around the 7 to 8 range. I think we have a warped idea of what average
Ralph,
and below average is.
No.
You can either, in people's minds in the NFL, you can either win a Super Bowl or you're trash.
No. Hold up. Because, okay, let's just keep this one hundo. Like one hundo. So is Baker Mayfield better than Tom Brady?
No.
Better than Matthew Stafford?
No.
Better than Patrick Mahomes?
Of course not. No.
Better than Kyler Murray? Oh, stop, Ralph. No, no. I'll answer it for you. No, because you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, being probably a little too overly critical right now. Is he better than?
I think they're in the back. I think that's the range. That's the range.
Is he better than Derek Carr?
I'd put Carr just above him.
Oh my God, bro. Is he better than Joe Burrow? No, Ralph.
It's two questions. Is he better than Joe Burrow, or would I take him? I think probably at this point in his career, he's probably a little bit better than Joe Burrow. I'd take Joe Burrow over him.
Oh God, he's not better than Joe Burrow. Is he better than Ryan Tannehill?
They were both really good last year. They both come back down to earth. I don't know what to say.
Is he better than Justin Herbert?
No.
Okay. Is he better than Lamar Jackson?
No.
Is he better than Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Is he better than Dak Prescott?
No, he's not better than Dak Prescott.
Is he better than Russell Wilson?
No.
I just named 20 quarterbacks, Ralph. 20 without naming Kirk Cousins. Bro, he's below average. That's why I said below average. I wasn't being hyperbolic. I was being dead ass serious.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. The context is also put these guys in Cleveland. How does that affect them? There's a reason that they've only had, like, before the year that Baker Mayfield had last year, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, almost 3,500 passing yards. Who was the last guy to do something like that for him? Derek Anderson? Bro, it's few and far between.
That's not, bro. We can make excuses for everybody, but he had his first couple seasons, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, not bad for a rookie. Second year comeback, 22 and 21, and then last year they made sure to keep the ball out of his hands as much as possible, bro. Listen. Odell Beckham Jr. understands that greatness at that he's a dependent. So he's dependent on having a good quarterback. Like for instance, do you think that Jamar Jefferson and Adam Thielen are complaining about Kirk Cousins? Nope. Nope. And he's average. because
but are they malcontents? That's the question.
Well, you guys can answer all these questions, and you guys can hit us up. 818-293-7547. This is 818-293-7547. Or you can shoot us an email. I'm mad at unafraidshow.com. Tell Ralph all the reasons why